Hey, yo, your boy Ego talked to Kenny Porter, trainer and father of Shawn Porter. Kenny tells me that Shawn Porter is actively training and they have the intent of fighting Terence Crawford. I don't think they're going to go for the $1 million, but stay tuned to this video. You don't want to miss it. And we'll talk about what was discussed. Shawn Porter, Terence Crawford, great fight. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We definitely working. Before I get started, smash the like button and consider ESPN Plus. It's $5.99 a month. Does help my channel when you guys click on that link, ESPN Plus. They offer a ton of value and different content for your viewing pleasure. You can get ESPN Plus again as a standalone app or get the bundle. This includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. 3 apps, one price, $12.99. Get it before prices go up. And Disney Plus just revealed a bunch of new shows and stuff that they're dropping in 2021. So y'all want to jump on the bandwagon and get that bundle, use my link. Now, your man Ego, well connected, well respected, received a call from Kenny Porter on Saturday, I believe it was, and it was a off the record conversation, some of it, but Kenny Porter says I can quote some of what was discussed. So I'm just gonna paraphrase. This is not verbatim or anything like that. It was nothing. It was just Kenny Porter, the Porter's friend of the channel, great career. And, it was just a conversation. He has my number. So we had a conversation. In that conversation, Kenny Porter, he admitted that Shawn fancies a fight with Terence Crawford. This shouldn't be a mystery to any of you guys. As you guys can see, articles have been written. Shawn Porter fancies a fight with Terence Crawford, but says he has other welterweight options too. And more or less, this is pretty much what his dad said. His dad told me that Shawn Porter is actively training with the intent and the fight in mind. However, from the conversation we had, it appears that if Bob Arum's $1 million offer is the best they could do, and I'm not the middleman, this is not my negotiation, but I don't believe that'll suffice. We'll just leave it at that. They're going to have to come out of pocket. But this is definitely a fight Shawn's staying ready for. He has it in his mind. But Kenny Porter was realistic and let me know that the intent is Terence Crawford, which is why Shawn Porter called him out after the Danny Garcia and Errol Spence pay-per-view fight. He says, I'm the mandatory for 2 guys, 2 great champions, but I've already had the storyline with Errol. It's about making adjustments and fine-tuning some things. Some people even believe the knockout was the only difference that separated Shawn Porter. I keep telling you guys, I love the fight with Crawford and Porter. Crawford did an Instagram live, and he's under the impression that the fans are just, it sounds like out to get him, or they just won't give him his full props until he retired. Like really kind of talking like Floyd Mayweather, if you will. But I don't see that with Terence Crawford. I think there are lucrative fights that make sense financially, like Shawn Porter and Keith Thurman. It's not just Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, but Crawford, he's his own brand, he's his own mind, and he seems fixated on 2 fights. But my thing is this, if you don't get those 2 fights, Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao, that you so desire, then why not do a fight with your mandatory, Shawn Porter, which is also a great fight. And again, from everybody I've talked to, everybody that I know says this is a great fight. Bob Arum kind of tried to downplay it, and I think the offer that he publicly made with Barbershop was disrespectful. $1 million. I mean, can anyone really believe that a respected, decorated champion, 2-time in this weight class champion like Shawn Porter at age 30 plus, whatever his age is going to take $1 million for a big fight. And then they would likely probably do it on pay-per-view. So where's all the rest of the money go to? You know, where does the rest of the money go to? Things that make you go, As you guys see on the screen, Terence Crawford has illustrated that he wants a fight. I do fancy the Crawford fight, and I am the mandatory challenger for the WBO belt. The thing I like about the Porters is they're about their business, and they always come to handle business. You could talk about Shawn's shoes or socks or whatever, but we all know in that square circle, Shawn is a handful for any welterweight in this current crop of welterweights to deal with, right? You know, the Kell Brook fight, Crawford, if he continues to fight those types of fights, he could get paid whatever he's getting paid. And if that's good enough for him, cool. But then I think the reactions are going to be pretty much the same from boxing. Yeah, Crawford's good. He's passing all the eye tests. But what happens if he stepped foot in with the Shawn Porter or Keith Thurman, you know, top level guys? I see old media's kind of pushing this narrative that Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is right now and boxing can't get this wrong. Man, I'm at the point where I think fights like this make more sense. Crawford has not done the heavy lifting in the division. So why not a fight with Crawford, which would, if you get past him, like some people believe he would, or I'm sure Crawford's team believes he would, then you make a stronger case because you have a sturdy name like a Shawn Porter on your resume. Meanwhile, the PBC guys are playing round robin. I mean, if you look at, this is why I pulled up Shawn's box rec. His last fight was his easiest touch. And even still, this was a guy who was undefeated and ranked, Sebastian Formella, right? Who actually, he wasn't even trash. He just wasn't on Shawn Porter's level. So much to the point that the UK, coming off a loss to Shawn Porter, they used it for a UK fighter. Because, you know, the UK boxing, in my honest opinion, they're not in the same, they're not in the same space. Like a lot of the domestic fights aren't comparable to the American fights and the fights you see elsewhere in the world, like Mexico and stuff like that. So coming off the Porter loss, they used Sebastian Formella for Conor Ben. And Shawn Porter fought the undefeated version. And Conor Ben is the son of boxing royalty. But just look at Shawn Porter's resume, bro. Errol Spence Jr., your Dennis Yu guys. These are champions and ranked guys. Danny Garcia, who is a ranked guy, even in a loss to Errol Spence. He's still going to be ranked top 10. Adrian Granados, who up until Danny Garcia was much better than his record, even holding a great win over Amir Imam, right? Tricky style. Andre Berto, Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, and the list goes on. Eric Bonet, Kell Brook, Paulie Malignaggi, Devin Alexander. This is Shawn Porter's resume, man. So I respect it, and I respect the Porters. They got a good program. Shawn is, again, a tough out. Shawn, he said, I don't know exactly what interview it was. It might have been his podcast, but he definitely said that he thinks the Crawford fight would be good because he has comfortability with his style. He knows what he wants to do. He doesn't poison his body. He doesn't drink, smoke, nothing like that. He lives a clean life. You see him doing the commentary, and you see how Shawn Porter fights. He's had a lot of, the podcast might be new, but he's done commentary for a while, and he's had different businesses and business ventures, and he's still showed you hunger every time he fights. You got to be, for starters, if you fight a Shawn Porter and you're not in shape, you're getting cooked. So you have to have skill. You definitely have to be in shape. And I feel like Shawn Porter is also a throwback fighter in the sense of he means business, man. He's just a throwback fighter, You have to know, I think Shawn Porter fights even better given the bigger names. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to understand, a guy like Formella, that's only going to show us so much, even though, like I said earlier in this, he was undefeated and stuff like that. But that only shows you so much. But against the Errol Spence, the Bertos, the Keith Thurman, then you see the real Shawn, and he grinds a little bit harder and takes it up a notch. You know, Adrian Granados, he did his thing, had a fractured hand. You know, fights like Julio Diaz, the first one was a draw. But he knows what's at stake, and he's trying to make these top guys look bad. And that much is apparent. That much is apparent from the way he fights. You know, he's out here trying to, I'm not gonna say ruin you, but you know, he's trying to make a statement. And I think he really gets up for these bigger fights. So I think the Terence fight is great. Ultimately, we'll see what Crawford decides to do. But I did talk to Kenny, who said Shawn Porter's active. They're training, they're anticipating, hoping this could get done. But in the event that they have to go in another direction, then they'll see what's on the table. But Shawn Porter does want the fight. That is confirmed from his own dad. Let me know what you guys think. I think this Terence Crawford has had a good career so far. But the next few months, this next year, is going to tell us a whole lot about Terence Crawford in general. We're going to see where his business brain is. No one questions him in the ring, but we're going to see where his business acumen is and different things like that in this upcoming year. Please believe it, please. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I just want to pass that off, let you know what was discussed. And Shawn Porter, Terence Crawford, I definitely want to see that as a precursor, or even a Keith Thurman, just a name that we can relate to a top welterweight. It doesn't have to just be Pacquiao, Errol, because the one thing that I'm seeing from the diehard Terence Crawford fans who seem hesitant to want to see certain fights like this, one, some guys are saying Crawford just crushes Porter. Okay, so if it's that easy, why not hype up the Errol Spence fight and just crush him? See, when fans start saying, oh, this person will get destroyed, he'll get crushed, and he'll get embarrassed, and boom, 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 but the fans aren't pushing for the fight, it immediately makes me skeptical. That's one. But two, never forget that what the boxing world is currently asking for Terence Crawford, they're asking that of the PBC guys as well. Like, some people are trying to make this seem like this is a pro PBC standpoint, but that's not the case. Terence Crawford has 37 fights, 28 knockouts. He is the only guy at welterweight with a belt that has all knockouts. Pacquiao don't have all knockouts, great fighter. Errol Spence don't have all knockouts, great fighter. You know why? Because Pacquiao's last fight was a guy, Keith Thurman, who's never been knocked out. Pacquiao's fight before that was a guy in Broner who's never been knocked out. But before that, he knocked out Lucas Matisse. Guess what? He had already been knocked out by Victor Postal, and he had been damaged by Danny Garcia, who Errol Spence just fought. You see what I'm saying? So nobody's asking anything of Crawford that the other welterweights aren't doing, right? He knocked out Kell Brook in 4. Kell Brook, he looked like he showed up for a paycheck. Going got tough, he got going. And he had been knocked out twice before, Triple G and Errol Spence. Aegis Klavelaskas, he hadn't been knocked out, but he was really coming off a draw to Ray Robinson, and he didn't have a illustrious resume to the point where, had he fought someone before Crawford, as good as what we perceive Crawford and Errol Spence's and Shawn Porter's and Danny's and stuff, maybe he would have a knockout loss before Crawford, but he hadn't fought no one. Amir Khan, he knocked him out, he quit, whatever. Guess what? Khan had been knocked out. Bradis Prescott, we've seen him hurt a million times. Canelo brutally knocked him out a couple fights before. Danny Garcia, who Errol Spence just fought, and Shawn Porter fought last year, you know, just beat Danny, who beat Khan. Jose Benavidez, I mean, he was inactive, you know, so it's the same thing. Jeff Horn, he hadn't been knocked out, but he only had 19 fights, and he was almost knocked out in his previous fight with Pacquiao. You know, the proof is in the pudding. The walls are closing in for Crawford. So, look, this is Benavidez. We all know he got shot in the leg, right? He fought Crawford October 2018. Before that, he fought a guy, Frank Rojas, who was undefeated, you know, 4 months prior. And then he had fought a guy named Matthew. This is the top ranked This is the Top Rank strategy. He fought twice before Crawford, right? So you're like, okay, he fought Matthew Strode and Frank Rojas. Real boxing fans don't know who that is. You know what I mean? 24-5 guy. And Frank Rojas, he has an undefeated record, but who is that? I've never even heard of him. Let me see what he looked like. Yeah, I don't even know who that is. It's fake Edwin Valero looking dude. I don't even know who that is, bro. That look like a fake Edwin Valero. And look, he got currently 3 losses. He's been knocked out before. You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's the Madrimov just fought him too. So who is that dude? So again, this is how Top Rank, the clever matchmaking. Yeah, he was on Jose Benavidez was on a 2-win streak, right? So you just look at that like, okay, he beat 2 guys, cool. You know, that means something. He beat 2 guys. But one, who are the 2 guys he beat? And then if you look at before that, he had been absent since 2016. I know you see this gap in employment. His last fight was Chia Santana, who Jose Cito Lopez just stopped. July 23rd, 2016. So yeah, if you look at BoxRec, look at this huge jump. We have never seen Shawn Porter in recent years not fight for 2 years. So yeah, and that was even a decently tough fight for Crawford Benavidez, you know, even with injury and all. It was still, he still went to the 12th round. So, you know, ultimately people got to see Crawford in there with somebody that has a bit more momentum, activity, stripes in the game. And I think Shawn Porter is that man. Plus it satisfies a mandatory. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.